All right, and welcome back, everybody. 6 minutes past the hour now. In 3 short days, Thanksgiving will be here, and you know that means plates and plates of food, right?
So much food, and you know, how do you keep that in balance? You know, you don't want to completely gorge yourself.
But it's hard not to. It's hard not to. So we're getting some advice on surviving the holidays. Dan Vukmirovich is here. Let's Go Fitness. And Dan, I know we've all been there. We're all looking forward to Thursday. And as kids, it starts kind of going back as kids. We're kind of trained to graze throughout the day.
Absolutely. And I think one of the biggest things that we're trying, especially as it relates to Thanksgiving, is it's so emotional. You know, when you go back, and especially as adults, when you go back home. So a lot of us travel back to grandma's house or back to mom and dad's, and we get that experience. And so there's all those emotions, and then sometimes we kind of revert back to being a kid again. And so we eat like when we're, like I remember when I was 14 years old, I could eat pretty much anything that was put in front of me, and I would have like 3 helpings of that, right, is kind of how it went. But now I'm 45, and I understand that my past is related to my dad's diabetes. So my dad passed away back in 2008 due to diabetes, and I realized that I had to take this seriously because ultimately we realized that in America that between obesity and diabetes, these are epidemic proportions of both of those issues. And so what we need to do is just be smart. And particularly over Thanksgiving, what we're looking to do is just to kind of try to keep us in somewhat in line, so we're not completely like going off the chains, I guess, moving forward. So if the more we can be able to have a plan going into things, we can talk a little bit about that. I think it'd be great.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, especially with Thanksgiving too, a lot of people think, okay, well, if I don't eat all morning, if I just do the food prep and then just go crazy at Thanksgiving, that may not be the best idea.
Absolutely, and I think the more that we're able to take a broader approach, so we understand our bodies. Now, our bodies are machines, and they're calorie-burning machines, and we're meant to give ourselves energy over the long haul. And what we want to do is to understand that when we starve ourselves, our bodies are pretty smart. And this goes way back to the beginnings of the human race, is that our bodies were set up as energy storage units, okay? So we're trying to store energy, and a lot of what people do is they go against their metabolism. So they go, hey Dan, I get a lot of people talking to me, hey, I'm eating like 700 calories a day and I'm not losing weight. What's the deal? And so what I tell them is, look, effectively what you're doing is you're starving your body on a regular basis. And what that does is then any food that you do put in your body, you're storing as fat. And so when people, if they can understand, is that our bodies are we want to keep our metabolism stoked during the day, so we're able to be burning calories all the day. So one of my big tips, specifically as it relates to Thanksgiving, is eat a good breakfast. Okay. So if we're not, when we get up, it's not like we think, oh gosh, I'm going to eat later, I'm going to save all my calories for later. No, you want to get your metabolism going early. And just as a note, it's not, doing breakfast doesn't mean just grabbing that coffee and throwing some creamer in it. Not breakfast. What you want to do is get a really good balanced breakfast where you're getting some proteins, some good complex carbs, and some good healthy fats mixed in with it.
And what we're going to be talking about with Dan over the next couple of weeks here is, usually it's the end of the year, people talk about, I'm going to lose 5 to 10 pounds afterwards, but we're going to kind of focus on losing it now, or at least start, and keeping it off. And that is the real task going into this, but it can be done.
Absolutely, and I think the jump start that you can have, and I think a lot of people, when we understand what it means to kind of have a lifestyle of health and fitness. Now here's the deal. January 1st is kind of the season for fitness guys, right? And we get that influx big time every year, and gyms are packed for that first couple of weeks of the year. And then what people tend to do is it kind of falls off, and then it ramps up for spring break and things like that. What we want to do is to start to encourage a lifestyle early, make good choices now, so you're not putting yourself into a deficit where you have to lose those typical 5 to 10 pounds. Because if we understand that over the years, if the typical average American gains somewhere between 5 and 10 pounds over the holidays, okay? You compound that, let's just go middle of the road on that. So let's say 8 pounds. So 8 pounds you lose, or gain each year. Over 5 years, that's 40 pounds. And if you can understand, that's a whole bag of salt. If you guys do the kind of the whole salt that you take for your water softener.
So what we're going to do is focus on, have a good meal on Thursday. We'll check back in with Dan a week from today to see how it's going with you, and a number of topics. And if you'd like to check out more, you got some video bonuses set up on your website.
Absolutely. We've got 8 tips, and it's a specific post. You're going to get 8 tips towards a healthier Thanksgiving. Really help you just dial in particularly with nutrition and getting your body moving
All right.
on Thanksgiving.
And we'll get that posted for you on Facebook and fox28.com. We'll see you next
Thank you so
Monday. Happy
much.
Thanksgiving.